Okay, we're recording. How you been?
Hello. Well, in my place is Shogakap. Good night. Over there is Sakarik. That's it is equivalent of good morning. Good morning,
Sakarik.
Sakarik.
Good morning.
Good morning, Sakarik. With a little Sakarik.
I say good
Basta
morning.
Sakarik tat, Sakarik nan, Sakarik kala, Sakarik kali.
What is nan? Sakarik nan.
Good morning, my mother or mother.
Nan is a mother.
Yeah.
Okay. And how about friend?
Wachalal. Sakrik, wachalal.
Sakarik wacharal. All right. And how about
That's
good evening?
Shakir.
Shak.
Shakir, Buenogel. ¿Cómo están ustedes? How are you? Shakir, Buenogel. Good evening.
Shaki. Did you
Literally means under the sun, under the light.
I heard somewhere that to say good evening or good night in Quiche uses the reference to the Nawal Akabal.
Akabil can be used sometimes, but now I'm very preoccupied because you always hear something somewhere, something peculiar. Sakri could be a reference to Nawal Akabal, and but not directly. It's Akabal is the morning, is the beginning of the day of light, but it's not used directly. It's just a reference.
Yeah, I was always under the impression that Akabal meant darkness.
It means both. What happens is that it's very peculiar because Akabal, yes, Akab, for example, you can use it in Shogagab, that is good night. Shogagab. But Akabil is also the first rise of the sun, like getting light or getting the first rise of the sun. So Akabal it also could be something that is hidden, occult, and it goes also in the secret meaning of Nawal Akabal, but directly Shogagab, good night. Akabil, the morning, the first rise of the sun. So Inkiche could be used ceremonially to explain that point, both the last darkness or the hidden and the occult, and the first rise and the coming of the light and clarity.
What did you say? The undue cold?
And occult.
Occult. I see. Occult things.
As with the let's say of getting them occult, hidden, preserved in darkness.
I see. So for many hundreds of years, the calendar traditions had to be hidden from the church, let's say.
Mm-hmm.
So is that a word that was used to?
Yeah, that could mean, and if you know a little bit of epigraphy or of the reading of a stone, for example, you can see that the Maya rulers, the house, sometimes they are carrying something like ceremonial bundles, bags, and they have the symbol of Akabal, of Akab, or the night, or the occult, and nobody knows what is inside. You can suspect because of how it was written or how in the modern times we have our bundles full of different objects like for example, the seeds for the calculation of time, or crystal quartz, or ancient stones, or relics, or different things. And also, in colonial times, you could have the cane of a staff, or things that are powerful but you wanted to hide from sight. So you can see that the symbol was also used to make a reference that inside that there's something hidden, powerful.
Very interesting.
Yeah. Now, just because it's you. Listen. Okay, so this is something very common. Understand in the most amazing way. And you won't believe maybe when I begin to say this, the news and the power. Because Nawal Akabal is also related to the government, to the house, to the rulers in all the times.
Why?
All the Akabal means, if Akabal means something that is obscure or hidden, Akabal also means, or could mean in one of the meanings that the ideas that the Akabal can hold, exemptions, to hide something, to gain control.
Okay.
Akabal means, I'm gonna repeat it because Mayan calendar for zombies, right?
Sure.
To hide something, to gain control, to retain control, or to apply control. That is Akabal in one of the explanation, assumptions, or one of the characteristics. So that's what government does. Government hides information to apply control or power. That's what the news is hiding or selecting information retained to gain, to apply control. Akabal always rules over hidden things to establish or to get the power in balance, in order, directed. Akabal in that sense means the hidden, or that is in darkness, that is not available, in order to get control over something, someone. So that is very peculiar, and that's why I think it is one of the reasons in which the sacred bundles were labeled with Akabal Nawal symbol, glyphic grid writing systems, because Akabal rules over that. And Akabal people are like that. Akabal people does not tell you everything. Akabal people hide something, get something. They have clarity. They have an amazing capabilities to understand stuff, and they are always very well cultured about stuff, but they hide something. They apply control, but not revealing. That's the other way. Not revealing some stuff, not saying openly about something, hiding something. Hiding or making something not visible is a way to get control, or to get order, or to get control and order, and to continue in ruling over something. Can you get the point?
Yeah, absolutely. I've had, I guess, many problems with Akabal over the years. Um, maybe that's the reason why. So yeah.
Well, because you look for information where, and I hear you have to ask. Akabal is, well, at this moment, we can understand that the information that is available in the internet, most of all, is just nonsense. As for example, the other stupid Mayan calendar that is told that today is the day out of time or something like that.
Oh
this
my God.
stupid stuff, and everybody was sending me stuff like, what can I do today that is the day with no time? And I was like, oh my gosh, why don't you try to read a book first?
That would be a good start. Yeah, read a book.
Yeah, or something. There are good books, but you have to be very clever and let's say, to try to understand, or to try to get deeper. Use your heart, if you want to say it like that, the way that those were that you have to understand stuff. How can you believe in a calendar 80s for hippies? And the day of today is the day out of time. How can a day be out of time? Out of time, whatever.
Well, now here's a funny question, which might be funny to get an answer. Is, do you think we could say that the Arwelas calendar is Nawal Akabal?
Should be Nawal Imosh in 200 potency.
Oh, I see. Because it's it's skewed.
Well, it's not even Mayan. It's is
I
what
know,
what
and
should
I'm
be
just trying
said.
to put a Nawal on it for
Yeah,
fun.
what should be said is that up calendar
Sure,
based
yes.
or inspired on Mayan calendar, but it's not a Mayan calendar.
No,
It's
it's not.
just like it's an invention, but sadly, uh, it has gained more importance than the authentic real Mayan calendar,
What?
and it is sad because you cannot imagine the quantity of questions that I received today for what to do in the day out. Huh?
Today, somebody should go beat the fuck out of that Arguelles guy.
Well, he's dead.
Oh, okay. Well, rest in. No, I can't say rest in peace, man. That guy fucked up so much stuff. Uh,
Yeah.
but like, it's funny if you go to the bookstore, you can find a book on the Arguelles calendar.
Yeah, well, as I told you, in some sense, it's also our fault for not to try to do it. But or some honest books that told or that talk about good information is not that easy to get them. There are some here and there that got good information. In the USA, you can follow Dennis and Barbara Tedlock. They wrote in English. They have good recollection of books, and based on ethnographic research that has good content. Not all the content is not. They are not going to answer all the questions, but for to get a good idea, you can follow them. Time and the Highland Maya really wants to know about the Mayan calendar. Then you can continue with some of them. I'm not saying that is the best or is the only thing. It's not the best. It's not the only thing, but those are good books produced by the Deadlocks.
It's a famous book,
Yeah.
and I've never read it actually, but I've heard a lot of people talk about it and reference it, and yeah, that is a famous book. So I'm glad to hear that there are some good books out there.
Guatemala, there has been efforts by Nawal Publishing Company to spread native writings, and here and there are good books, but it's only, let's say, 500 copies or 100 copies, and are difficult to find it. Anyways, well, if you want knowledge can come to you, but you have to fight for it.
Yeah, that's been my experience. I've really I've had to put in any knowledge or information even, you know. Yeah, and I actually feel very lucky to been able to make this podcast. It was a really good idea, and it
Okay, well, now following your podcast mention, this man is William.
that name.
Yeah, he's my friend. One of his initiation points were these podcasts.
That's
You
awesome.
you never can imagine where is the place in which the rabbit is going to jump. That's how we said in Spanish. Donde va a saltar la liebre? But well, this man is just very amazing, and I'm always like, Will Freeman, yeah, Will Freeman, William Freeman. I don't know. Well, hello, William, or Will, or yes, Will Freeman.
That's very cool. Well, as long as we have a few people, each week, I've noticed that it's each time there seems to be a few more people coming. So that's really good.
I believe so. I'm always be well whenever the time is possible to be available here for anything. Did you prepare questions these times?
Yeah,
Or what?
yeah.
Or
Let's just talk about nothing. Yeah.
Well, if you prepare questions, I'm going to try to not to answer.
Okay. Well, I have what we did actually last time was we went through some detail
Novels.
about the Nawals, and today we sort of did Akabal a little bit. But the last one that we finished was Toch, so we were going to start today with Tzi.
Well, let me tell you something about Toch. Toch and Akabal are usually seen together in representations of rulership, and that's the point that I'm trying to tell you. because Toch is the ascending fire, and in that sense, following the metaphor of nature, is the fire that gets big because it has been fed. So, in that sense, it means tributation, and any governmental institution needs tributation, ask for something, ask for feeding, ask for a way to feed them. The government is just this instrumentation, right? That asks for tributation, for tribute. So that is the meaning. That is one of the meaning of Nawal Toch, to ask, to make them tribute, for them to shine, or for them to be the ascending fire and to shine and to burn as fire. They need to be fed. So they are always asking something, complaining about something, and making lists of what they require. That is the point of Toch as something that has to be fed, because it's the ascending fire. Then it is Nawal Akabal. There is always an association with Akabal, because Akabal is the other way in which government or rulership devotes the self to continue by hiding, or by showing, or avoiding, or using, or manipulation of information to stay over there. Can you get the point? Akabal and Toch, then they go together in rulership.
I get the idea of asking for payment or tribute, and Akabal is the one who receives tribute, or is a ruler.
It's another association for rulership. Rulership can be always related to the ascending fire, that at the same time is also the thunder. That's why they are always associated with hatches, the ones that produce the rain and clouds and rain coming from the sky. Is the thunder. The ascending fire is asking, needs to be fed to shine, or to rule, to do the rulership.
So that
Akabal is another way to talk about the way of rulership, and this is still present moment. Rulership in any sense, and I'm not talking only about governmental, or in any situation in which you need to have order and control, you have to be very intelligent to reveal or to hide from his power. So you have to use it in a way, and that's Akabal.
Okay, I think I understand. So Toch is associated with rulership, and Akabal is associated.
Yes,
Sort of.
yes, Akabal does like that. Yes, and you can see it depicted in these stelas and this everything that has been produced. Sometimes it looks like rulership propaganda. It looks like okay, this is an information that I'm going to reveal to you, but it's not total, and I have more. You know, the art of war as such.
Yeah.
It's also the art of hiding and revealing information. Showing off information or surprise at the other with some information that has been hidden. And it is also used in political purposes, to hide something, or to occult something, or to threaten someone that I'm going to reveal this that you did. And this hidden information is power.
Okay, yeah, I think I understand. I remember in the election, Bernie Sanders. I looked up his Nawal, and he was Akabal, and so I thought, he's hiding something.
Well, we can see it every single day in every governmental declaration. Yeah. We always said, they are lying.
Yeah.
But the most aggressive point is when someone tries to do something and he gets blackmailed, or when saying, okay, I'm going to reveal this information. That is power. That is the power of Akabal. To get and collect information and then to hide it, to get control, to get power, to remain in power, or to win any given war. That is Akabal also. That's why Akabal is Nawal, that you have to follow with respect.
That's very interesting.
Yeah, I found it very interesting. I'm also always very devoted to analyze stuff and news and what people says and in social media, what people reveals, what people tries to show you. But what they are not showing you is a way in which Akabal plays the role. What they don't show you, and then suddenly you discover the stuff that you were not aware of, and that's power. And it's very interesting how consciously or unconsciously we do it also. We hide, we preserve, we have some information just for ourselves and things like that. Very, very interesting. Now you can apply it, that knowledge, to see every news that you read and to think about which is not which is revealed, but what is not. And what is not is going to reveal the line of power.
There's a lot there. I'm gonna have to think about that one for a few months. I'll let you know. I'll let you know what I come up with.
Yeah, it's very, very, very interesting to analyze that stuff of what is going to be applied to you in some sense, or it's the way the strategy of a ruler or any given person in power is going to apply. Sometimes they are surprised. I got you with this information. If you do this, I'm going to reveal this. That's Akabal going back and forth. And there has been very clever rulers that were born Nawal Akabal that use that in the most amazing way.
Akabal, like I said before, has been a Nawal that I've had a lot of trouble with, or maybe the most trouble with.
One of the most interesting because of the complexity is Nawal Ahmak. Ahmak is easy to understand in Mayan, but all the possible ideas and implications that Ahmak has make it this Nawal that has to be really studied. Akabal is not that much. Well, Akabal is that. But, for example, Akabal, the root of the word is Akab, night, or in a sense, metaphorical sense, obscurity. But Abil, as a substantive, is already something that is getting white. The first rise of the sun. Akabal means light, clarity. The use of hidden information to get power. Akabal means complaining. Akabal is demand, and complaining. Anytime someone is, or any entity, whatever the size, is Akabal, is a complaining, demandant, and they are always very asking for order, control, dominion, and it is the complaining person. Akabal people is never satisfied. Akabal people is never gets the best. The worst are your mother or your father is Akabal. Because if they are Akabal, they are going to ask everything. You are never going to satisfy that monster.
That's really funny. My brother and his wife are both Akabal, and they just had some children a few days ago. So I thought it was really funny.
I wish the best for them.
Well, is Akmak is complex, and so and I also know that Nawal pretty well. But yeah, it's been it's a stubborn energy as far as I've experienced easily.
Well, it depends on the number also, but let's leave Ahmak for another occasion. Akabal, then what happens with Akabal, and I'm going to talk about the human form or the human vessel, as we have to say it. Akabal people is very organized. He's very ordered. Akabal people, let me tell you something. I don't know which is said in English. In Spanish, we call it TOC. Trastorno obsesivo compulsivo. Obsessive compulsive disorder. Well, the English words are always very beautiful. Disorder. Mm-hmm. It's a disorder for the Anglo people. An Akabal person is the person that washes the hands 10 times. Akabal person is the one that can throw one shirt to the garbage just because one stain or just one button that falls and just this little stuff that gets out of this of the previous control idea. Akabal persons are always like let's say clean and white in all the senses, not only like pulchritude in the clothes or in the presentation of the self. They are always very neat, oriented, but at the same time they are, just because of the order, just because of this kind of I'm not going to say that it's a disorder, obsessive compulsive, but that's the way that because of the order and the way they clean everything, they put everything in order, the discipline they have, most of the Akabal women and men tend to develop high knowledge of stuff. Anxious. They are going to try. They go to a 7-Eleven and if they saw something out of over there, they are going to try to fix it. But so there are standards to understand capabilities is always at their level, so anybody can reach. Perfection is this clear idea. So it is sad to say that their highest standards of understanding everything and sometimes kind of twist ways of doing stuff is too much pressure for relatives, or too much pressure, for example, for alums if they are professors, because there's no way to get them saying, well, I can never. They are always complaining, or a wife that is Akabal, a husband that is Akabal is, he's never satisfied. There's no way. He's always complaining about the stuff. Everything is wrong. Now. I put this glass in another part of the kitchen and it's gelling already, about God and things like that. They are the complainants and the demanding people. But at the same time, as I said, they are very compulsive to order, to control, and to discipline. They are very disciplined people. And kind of freakies also, because you can fear them when they begin with, I have an idea, oh my gosh, which is that idea? I don't want to hear. I said they are always very, 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 very clear about reality, about stuff. They have a sensibility to understand easily things. And so Akabal meaning hidden information to retain gain is a Nawal of dreams, because Akabal is also the light that came in the night. The capabilities, the gifts to have dreams, and any dream, it's Akabal by nature because it's the light that came in the darkness.
Well, I want to ask you something quickly, because it's ironic, I guess, is that dreams are usually very chaos. They're all over the place. They are just a total chaos. Nawal, which is a very high need for order.
Yeah, that's the point. Well, what happens is that whenever you enter into the Mayan calendar, and you have to think in the idea that it is very well known of gears, when you begin to enter and you begin to do the effort, for example, um, then next day you are going to be aware or conscious about which is the Nawal that is going to rule over dreams, and then you wake up and you try to remind. Then the next day the same. You're not going to say the Holy Father anymore in the night to go to bed. You're going to say my next Nawal is that.
It's over.
Let's see what Kat is. Yeah, let's see what Kat is going to tell me. The next night, whenever you begin, Holy. Oh no. Nawal can. You have to be aware that the ruler of the next day is the Nawal, and any dream that is going to be or to receive is going to be ruled by that Nawal. So you have to remember that every night. I do it every night. It's like that heavy. Whenever you enter into that gear, and I can tell you, your dreams begins to get in order, and it is amazing that then. Instead of the Holy Father, you can say, Nawal Cat, you are the one that is going to rule this night. Can you please give me this answer? And stupid, but later, little by little, you can giving you my word. And sometimes that's, and I receive a dream, but that's precisely focusing purpose to get light in the dark. So that's the point, and I'm giving you kind of a secret. I don't know if it's a secret, but or maybe if this is the first time that it's here, well then that's a secret. Every night, instead of the Holy Father, you ask the Nawal that is going to come and analyze in the morning. There's going to be a phenomenon. If the Nawal knows that you are aware of what you are doing or conscious that you are conscious about that, every 20 days, a Nawal is going to send you something else. For example, I begin in a Nawal Cat and I ask something. Cat means complication, debt, something that is stuck. And I said, how can I go out of this problem? And that night, maybe I won't receive an answer, but maybe 20 days later, in the next Nawal Cat, I can get the answer. Whenever we continue doing that, we enter into the gears of the order of time. That is the way that is called Rahilapal, order of time, or counting.
How to say again?
Rahilapal.
Akabal.
Rahilapal, it means counting, a way of counting, instrumentation of counting. Mm-hmm. Not a surprise that our dreams are deorganized, because we are deorganized. That's just the reflection of the mirror. Whenever you enter into dreams, analyzing and being aware of who is going to be the lord of the lady or the ruler of the dream, little by little you begin to get into connection, and it is a beautiful adventure to enter in.
Well, I wanted to say something because I listened to your dream podcast a little while ago, and I've been practicing some of the techniques with some success, especially so I wake up and I have a dream, and so I'll count back 9 days to see where the dream is coming from, and count forward 9 days to see where it's going, or something like that.
My God, did I already told you that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well,
that is yes, everything that is ruled under the Mayan principle that says everything has a feminine principle and a masculine principle to give it life, or everything has a mother and a father, or everything has a composed energy to be understood. So 9 days before, it's going to give you the inception motive, idea, energy, or something. 90 days later is going to give you the conception or the feminine development of everything.
The development, that's right, yeah.
Development, incubation, unfolding of stuff. So if I, for example, let's say, just an example. Today, I dreamed that I was beaten by a dog, and that it means fight, problem, even death, legal complication with a lawyer. It could also mean some deceivement because someone is gossiping you. It depends on the image. And I go 9 days back, I'm going to find how it started. If I go 9 days later, I will find how it is going to develop, or what is the meaning, or how it is going to end.
Mm. Yeah, I've actually found that very useful because, and part of the reason I'm asking is I don't know the Nawals that well. There's so much that I don't know, and so if I have a dream and it's obviously very strange, then I don't know how to. What's today? Today is Akabal. Today is Akabal, and
Oh my gosh, let me see. Well, here is not already Akabal, but oh yeah, no, yeah, okay, for you.
yeah,
Yes, Akabal, yeah.
that's why we're talking about it. I was actually not even thinking about that, but that's very funny. Um, But so I'll have the dream on Akabal, and it's very strange, and I can't understand it, and so I'll look back 9 days to what was before Akabal, Zakin, and I'll think, oh, okay, hula hoo Zakin, okay, and then I'll look forward 9 days, and I'll think, oh, okay, that's where it's going, and then that actually gave me a little bit more tools or idea of maybe some ways to think about the dream, and so it was less confusing to use that. So I've actually, I think I've been practicing that with a little bit of success. Thanks for that. It's been very interesting.
What you can do is to make a list of the Nawals and get. This is Mayan calendar for dummies. It's like Chok for dummies. What you can do is to write the 20 Nawals and then to have three keywords to try to understand. Three keywords, no more, or maybe four.
Okay.
For to get the connections, the conceptualization, the meaning, the spirit, the mood, the nature of the Nawals, and little by little you are going to discover the fascinating world of the Mayan calendar. For example, if I were to choose Akabal words, I will say clarity, order, complain, and hiding information. I apply for or clarity in the meaning of knowledge or building knowledge. Order and control goes together, or order or control, and hiding information. Complaining with demand. And now I have keywords. If you go deep in conceptualization, yes, you are going to find a very neat person in order, an Nawal that rules in the night to bring clarity, the Nawal of dreamers. The best dreamers are always Akabal people.
Oh.
You can pay to Nawal Akabal in ceremonial stuff to bring you more attachment or neatness, to retain your dreams and to get order in the images. And remember, another key rule for dreaming, now you have three that I can remember. Another one is that I told you already, that whenever you have association with any image, you have to erase it.
Right.
And I remember that I told you, if dogs for you were heavily because your mother used to have 20, and now the association that you have with dog is not protection or humbleness or whatever, but to be full of hair or the smell of poops or whatever, then you have to erase all the associations.
I have a question, because this is something that's a little bit strange, and it is a little bit personal, but it's just only about a dream. But I'm quite curious about this. So, this year I have seen a lot of snakes down by the river, down near my house. And so I'll be saying, oh, and you can really get surprised by that. And so I've told it to some of my friends or some people that I talk with, and they say, "Oh, that's good luck. That's good luck." And
it depends.
So in Japanese mind, to see the snake is a good thing, whereas in the Western mind, the snake is a bad thing. And so I said, "Oh, that's interesting." And they would always say, "Well, the white snake is very good luck. That's the that's the cultural idea here." And so a few weeks ago, I had a dream where there was sort of a chandelier above me, and I looked in it, and it was a very big black snake, like the ones I've been seeing at the river. And I was very surprised to see a snake. And next to the snake was a small baby. And I thought,
Hmm.
ah, that's very interesting. And so back to the idea that I should, clean the thing. Well, people have been telling me for months now, the white snake is it's the lucky one, and that's the good one, and then here it comes in my dream. And so my initial reaction was, it's a good dream, or then my second reaction was, maybe my mind put that there because I had the association, something like that.
Yeah, that's right. Well, the basic meaning for the serpent is associated with a snake, with Nawal Khan.
Right, of course.
And we already talked about that. But kulel, that it means the enemy, or contra kulel, that is the enemy against you. But it also could mean the counterflow, whatever, energy, mood, whatever. The counterflow again that goes against you, something about, and that an enemy. Well, an enemy is an enemy, but a counterflow is not necessarily negative. And there are three conditions for counterflow energy. The one says that whenever you face something that is in counterflow with you, is upsetting you, when it is only something that it is getting you upset and takes you out of your own flow. The second one, counterflow condition, is when you and the counterflow have the same energy, quantity, dimension, whatever you want to call it, and both get neutralized. Neither the counterflow nor you can advance. That is the third condition, is when the counterflow beats you up and takes you away from your path and takes you away from your stuff, and then you have to redefine yourself, or to move to another place, or to get new skills, or to prepare yourself, because a counterflow energy just push you took you to the floor. Those are the three conditions for counterflow, and if any one of them is negative, because you can just be just disturbed, upset, taking a little bit, make you ponder something, make you try to make changes in yourself. The second one is neutralized. No, neither you nor the counterflow. And the third is going to beat you up. Then you have to really build you up once again. And it is not negative. Sometimes we need that in life. So that's also what the snake dream represents, a counterflow. Depending on the way it presents the self and the association we have with the image, could mean an enemy, a counterflow upsetting energy, a counterflow neutralizing energy of what you are doing, or the big enemy counterflow energy that is going to beat you up and you are going to be defeated. So prepare yourself. But as it will depend on association. Now you know the basic meaning. Now you know the deep meaning of what is the snake in a dream, and the counterflow, and the meaning through Nawal Khan. But you have to analyze the cultural atmosphere in which you are, or you believe in, or what cultural association you apply, and also the day in which the dream even is given. So you have to go back 9 days, or go 9 days later, to analyze inception and conception of the dream, to get to the real meaning. And then maybe it is the big enemy, maybe it's your mother-in-law, maybe, or it may be just you were just watching Shark Week or something.
That's good. I like that. Yeah. They're sending me
Well,
messages. The
maybe that
Shark Week.
happens.
Yeah,
Sometimes
I know it does.
maybe sometimes we have unexpected dreams. Unexpected dreams. We are changing the channel in the TV, and then appears a snake, and you dream a snake. That's not that difficult. But sometimes it's a real counterflow energy that is going to beat you, especially if the snake bites you, and if you bleed, whoo, it's even more.
Oh, that doesn't sound like
So
a good reality or a good dream. I don't want to be bitten by a snake in any time.
no, no. Sometimes it's also a flow of, let's say, energy or mood or spirit or whatever that is in front of you and can lead you, and that is someone that is going to protect you. In real life or in the common days, if there's a presence of a snake, you have to analyze which direction the snake took. If the snake goes from right to left, oh, you better watch out. It is not good. I think I already explained
You
that.
did, yeah. I've been watching the world in that way carefully over the last few weeks. Exactly, but yeah, maybe I do. I've been trying it out anyway.
Left to right, takalibal, something goes up. Right to left, takalik, something is going to fall down. From the bottom up is positive. Once again, takalibal, from up to down, takalik is going to go down. 6. Counter clock
Wise.
wise is closing. No, which is counter clock.
Yeah.
The opposite is
Clockwise.
clockwise is opening and the other is closing.
It's the way a clock works is opening.
Oh no, so I made a mistake. Forget. All right. Clockwise. The way the old watches now. I don't know who use that kind of watches anymore.
It's a fashion.
The old watches. Yeah. Clockwise is closing.
Okay, yeah, I thought so. And counterclockwise is opening.
And counterclockwise is opening.
Okay. Okay.
That it means that you can analyze that if you suddenly are walking or even driving and you saw this swirl of wind, and you can see if it goes closing or opening. In the fire, in ceremonial stuff, in the incense burner, when in healing, when you are using tobacco, you can read the message of the body of a person by reading these swirling movements. Nature is always saying something. Nature, the wind, the trees, everything is always showing signals that you can read. But as I told you with my friend, remember that I said, I want to talk to you, like I want to talk to you. The trees. And I said, have you ever said hello? No. Well, you have to begin.
Right. Very interesting. There's a lot of information in there actually today. You really there's a lot to chew on so far.
Yeah.
And as usual, we missed the
the origin.
Yeah.
Nawal is waiting, but Akabal is very interesting.
No, very interesting. Sure, yeah.
Because if you found it so difficult for you to understand, Akabal is just fascinating in all the senses. A mother that is an Akabal, and let's say 5, 8, 13, 12, they are so keen. Number 5, they are so demanding, so complaining, that you can really say, I don't want to return to my planet because this mother that I have, she's never satisfied. That's true. They are so neat. They are so complicated in that sense that, and I'm going to say something that is very hard, but I hope not to get into controversy. But Nawal Akabal women sometimes have problems to have orgasms just because they fear to stay in the sheets. Have you seen American Beauty?
Yeah, I have. Yeah, I saw that movie.
No, just Spacey's wife. In the moment, he now suddenly he got this spark of life, right? Like by Nawal giving him some little hint with this little young woman.
Right.
And then suddenly he tries to regain or to go into a relationship with the wife, and the wife way in which the writer depicted that is an Akabal wife. Exactly what an Akabal wife is. Well, and I'm not going to go machista in this moment. It also will apply to an Akabal man that is incapable of having a good, let's say, sexual intercourse because he's preoccupied by everything in that moment. And they are so keen, so neat, so organized, so control, order, whatever, that they develop that kind of problems. They are preoccupied at the moment of the sheet of this or sweating or smells because they are so neat, so keen, so inculcated. And just imagine that applied when they are going to analyze you. Woo.
Too much clarity, maybe, eh?
Yeah, exactly. And they are the ones that, by the way, they always choose the more expensive stuff. They like expensive. They like the best glasses, the best skirts, the best pants, the best jackets, and they are always very, let's say, less sophisticated people because they always like also to talk properly and to talk with the proper things. As writers, they are good writers, really good writers, because they get so. As everything in the universe, the same energy or the same mood, spirit, consciousness, processes, or beings produce you amazing stuff, the best writings, but at the same time produce a control freak, an order freak, or as I like to say, enthusiastic. It's not a control freak, it's a control enthusiastic. So Akabal is very fascinating in the way, as I told you, is neat, keen, order, preoccupied, anxious, but his culture is the ruler of being, is the complaining, the demanding, the I never will satisfy anything with this person, but at the same time, they produce beauty. They produce Akabal, for example, rules and you can find so many. This is a task that I'm gonna let you over fashion designers. See, it's like the rain.
The Nawal of fashion designers. I like it.
Well, it will be Akabal and Hunakpu. Because Hunakpu likes to show off.
Yeah, I think I remember hearing that at one point.
Hunakpu is the warrior shining sun that comes from darkness to go up to the sky. Is the seed that sprout in the earth, in the dirt, to come back as a plant. Is the baby that is in the warm, dark Akabal reign of the mother's womb, and then comes to the light. So Hunakpu also likes to shine. And if you choose, for example, between a Hunakpu and Akabal for a contest of fashion, you're gonna have problems. Because both are very neat for choosing, picking the clothes, picking the stuff, for combined, for everything. If you have a wife that is Akabal, okay, she's going to be the best dressed. If you have a man, he's going to dress like a gentleman. But they are so demanding.
I've also noticed the high fashion is Jaguar and Eek.
Not directly, maybe indirectly. Because each can buy expensive stuff, and sometimes you don't have a clue of what to buy. But if you buy the expensive, well, you choose the choose of order.
That's funny. Expensive means good.
Sometimes Ahmak and Anil also got that stuff, and Nawal E by reverberation of energies. Also, Nawal E could be very keen also to choose expensive or exotic, but Nawal E goes to exotic, same as Hunakpu. And Hunakpu goes to exotic and fashion, but Akabal is the English way. It's just the gentleman and the lady. Yes, they are not going to adventure into
Exotic
stuff.
Right. It's too risky.
It's too risky. Yes. It's too much. Hunakpu can do it, and E can do it because we like to show off. But Ahmak and Anil are more like practical beings. Anil chooses different kinds of people. There is a people that is like the G.I. Joe for the city, G.I. Joe for the war, G.I. Joe for the desert. You know, this like Barbie for the city, Barbie for the blah blah blah.
Got it. Okay.
When you have you have all the sets
Canio?
prepared. Yeah. And everything combines, and that's it. That's more Anil.
That's funny. Yeah,
that's very, very funny.
I've always had a trouble with something like that. I just don't fucking care. I can't care, I don't think, you know?
Well, that's how your mother builds you in the womb. But for them, an Akabal can discover a stain, and in that moment go to a place, buy another one, and throw the other. Akabal, you can destroy an Akabal stuff by staining stuff or
stain. If you have
there's a joke
that
says that the cloth of an Akabal is not get destroyed, or it not an Akabal destroys the clothes by washing, not by using.
I see. Yeah. That's very funny.
So much time with them because they are always finding you some hero here and there. But I have always admired how neat they dress and how neat they speak and how they behave in the most let's say the best way.
Competitive relationship with that Nawal from very early, from the beginning.
And you lost, I know.
Yeah, and so I've always had trouble with it. So it's taken me a long time to make peace or to come together with that one. Yeah, it was a big challenge for me.
You have to play a slave, and that's the end.
Yeah, I mean, I just usually don't play the game. That's usually my way, you know.
Well, it depends. But one thing that is very important, and this is a message for everybody, for everyone that listens to this podcast, is that any given characteristics that belongs to an owl, it is not necessarily a conscious decision, but a creation mood established in the mother womb according to the atmosphere and the creation time. So, for example, Akabal people, woman or a man, it does not matter, come from a very already neat parents in that moment. And it is always a very hard worker woman, and it is always a very organized woman. So men and a man that comes from an Akabal, they already know for example, they already know in womb times or in gestation times that they learn in that case that that's the only way to have order and control. So when they are out of full grown adults, they just behave according to that. And it is very deep, but they can do stuff. Because there's another joke that says, who's the first victim of an Akabal? Well, the first victim of an Akabal is the self. Because Akabal demands too much, complains too much, it suffers. As I tell you, they are doing because they are preoccupied for that.
Well,
see, so the first victim, the Akabal in the self. So what I want to say is that for every Nawal, we have to analyze pregnancy times to a conscious way of thinking of every person, and then we develop tolerance. Yes, maybe it was too much to live besides an Imosh, doing crazy stuff all the time, or a Hunakpu that is always fighting to get the attention, or bad mood and fighting and yelling to everyone. But then, little by little, you begin to discover and you begin to get this tolerance to understand people build deep in those moments. So, little by little, you begin to get the tolerance to say, well, Joanna Nawal can. Please, if you're going to yell softly. I can understand. Don't do it that much. You can begin even something that it is very new age, but you can forgive people. Sometimes you can say, well, you were just an emotion. You didn't have the skills to behave differently, or maybe the way everybody thought that you can do it. Maybe he was or she was incapable of having social skills, for example.
That's my favorite thing about the mind calendar. That's my favorite lesson, is to see another as somebody who is maybe not, they don't understand what they're doing, or to have a lot of towards them, or to understand them, was a kind of a revelation for me. It really changed the way I thought about people.
That was for me too, and that was for me too in a very amazing way, because I always, as I think every honest human being, I was carrying stuff in my consciousness. I was carrying. When I begin to apply the knowledge, I knew that sometimes as you cannot ask something that Nawal cannot do.
That's right.
And every one of us have boundaries, and every one of us have predilections, and sometimes we reject the stuff. So for a person that is, for example, Nawal 2 or 4 or 6 or 9, it's difficult to look at them dancing doing stuff in the dance floor. They can have obviously social skills, but not that develop as they show off, or people that has already that energy. And it is maybe it's an Nawal 2 or an Nawal 9. Those are babies who are not built. Parents took them to the psychiatrist, and suddenly they are strong, and then now they have social skills, right? Same thing. Okay.
I always and you have somebody else needs to have dominion on things, then I can just leave it alone and understand. Just because I'm not like that, it doesn't, something like that. And to see that was a revelation, I think.
Yes. When you got the big broad picture of gestation times from the 20 Nawals and the 13 numbers, and you apply that knowledge to the composition of a person, then you're going to get surprised that everybody has characteristics, and that is like resources you have to manage. But at the same time, you must not apply your own standards, even if they build you as let's say a successful person. You cannot apply your own to the others. Let the other be what the other want. Let the other develop. Let's just build a bridge of comprehension between the other. But the other also must understand that you are incapable of something, and that maybe sometimes you are so dumb that you cannot do it, or so bright.
It's true. Yes.
It's true. Sometimes I have seen so many different things about, for example, what preoccupies me the most is the pressure applied over children, how they are pushed to try to go to a level, to a certain standard of, no, as I said, nobody knows which is the real standard. There's no way to develop that standard. But anyways, we believe in a dream that there's something we call normal, and people is pushed to go to that, and especially the children. So, and with adults, you begin to develop tolerance, and suddenly you find the fun aspect also of this. Like when you say, "Oh, my friend is can, let's push him, let's make him fight."
That's true. That's true. Yeah.
Oh, my friend is Nawal. Oh, let's invite him to eat. Or
You really think Kia eats too much, eh? That's very funny.
yeah, well, not everyone, but mostly all of them. It depends on the number also.
That's very funny. I have a question about that.
What?
Okay, so let's say Kia is having a problem with the lack. Pregnancy, there's some sort of a lack, right?
Yeah, or the mother has to enter into some sort of a diet.
That's right. So
because there's an illness or something.
If that is causing a problem, what would be something to do that would help the problem?
When they are adults?
Yeah.
Or there's an inner card in the play. There's a hidden card in the play. Nawal tends to be lazy. Do it for me. I won't do it. Do it for me. But when they are pushed to develop physical stuff, they can develop real good discipline to do it. They can also be very, very organized to do stuff, or to do exercise, or to do routines of different disciplines, and they can get it, but you have to push them a little bit. And then all that compulsion for eating, or for and it is not only eating, it's also the same starving for sex, the same starving for anything that likes them, could be transformed into a discipline. And there's so many good athletes that is Nawal.
Sure.
But they have to be push.
Yeah, well, I've seen the mind of lack has become. Do you know what hoarding is? Hoarding is to sort of gather something and hide it and keep it.
Okay.
Because there's some lack. There's not enough, let's say, money or food, for example.
Okay,
yeah. And so, another thing I've noticed from studying all the Nawals is that everyone has some kind of a problem, and they have to face it in some way. And so, in a broader sense of the question, almost like every Nawal needs some kind of medicine, to balance their energy or something like that, so that they become healthy.
No, I think it's not medicine, because we are applying the Western scheme of good and bad.
Fair enough. But let's say balance.
No, everyone needs a comprehension, or a conscious comprehension of the nature for them, or for you, or the individual, the asset, to manage their capabilities. More than a medicine, or more than
balance.
Let's say, or whatever. Mm-hmm. It needs full consciousness. Something that when I was young, I was always very surprised that being Nawal E. Hello, I'm Nawal E.
Yeah.
I was always having very solitary times, but when I was, a teenager, it was something like quite, and I have no explain of that. If you are Nawal E, and Nawal E means the path, then you have to be disconnected to follow the path. Here and there, you are going to go away or to be exposed, or you yourself have to cut. Because if finding is a mood, then you have not to carry stuff, right? It is obvious that the same organization in your energy is going to cut you. When I didn't knew about that, I was suffering. Now that I know, I'm just, whenever something happens, I am even confident, like, okay, this is making pressure. I'm just waiting for my Nawals. They are going to cut it.
I see. So it's the comprehension of it that it's almost like putting light on it, or awareness to it, that releases the suffering, something like that.
In this case.
Uh-huh.
And Akabal that is so complaining, for example, and that suffers because they cannot enjoy something that is out of order, or something that is making this noise, or whatever that is. They have to understand they are Akabal, and that one of the purposes or the way of thought of the Nawal is precisely to get the order. But they can little by little begin to introduce ideas like, well, this time I'm going to give me permission. Tomorrow I'm going to do something different. Or they can begin, knowing the nature of the Nawal, you can begin little by little to apply small orders to your own Nawal, and your Nawal is going to follow you. That is very, very, very amazing. That is why the understanding of a Nawal is also a dialogue with your Nawal. And if you thought it's like talking to yourself, it can also be like a little dumb if you think, okay, I have to talk to me in the third person, because the third person, to talk to me in the third person is the Nawal, right?
Right.
But it functions. You are talking to the deep consciousness that is behind the illusion of the world, or the illusion of the interpretation of the data in the world. That is your ego, the idea that you have an individuality. When you go behind that and talk in third person to the Nawal, that is your Nawal, little by little you are going to know that suddenly you are really talking to you. But it's like a paradox, because it's in the third person, but at the same time it's you, but it's not you. It's a Nawal, but it's you.
It's you, but it's not you. But it is, but it isn't. Okay, I think
yeah. This is like a Borges or Philip K. Dick idea
Sure,
of what
yeah.
is perception. What is really not you, but rules over you, then it's you, but it's not you.
Philip K. Dick would have a lot of fun with this idea, I think.
Yeah,
really
I am a
places.
follower of Philip K. Dick. Not only the movies, but also the
books.
novels that
Yeah.
are incredibly twisted.
Yeah, he's a weirdo for sure, but amazing.
He was 11-ish, Balam.
11-ish.
Mm-hmm.
But
But 11-ish also is the vampire of Windsor-Dolph, or something, that German man that was eating people alive. So
that's more like ish. That's what I was thinking.
yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Philip
I
K.
think
Dick
that-
doesn't seem like an ish to me. I never
I
got
have
that.
always think that Philip K. Dick is another Nawal, that maybe there's something wrong with the date. He does not looks like
No.
Dusserhof, the vampire of Dusserhof. That's another hula hoop Balam who really behaves.
You know what actually makes more sense is Ach, because Ach is a weirdo.
Oh yeah,
Ach is a
transformation.
total weirdo, and
Intelligent, right?
you're very
yes.
super intelligent, but a weirdo, and so that actually fits pretty nicely.
Oh, you got a start in your like a good album. Yes.
I always, because sometimes the novel doesn't fit, and I'm like, that's not quite right. That doesn't, ish, I don't understand that. And then I go, oh yeah, that's perfect. You know?
Goes incredibly perfect, and also explains his life.
Oh, I don't know his life. What is his life like?
Ooh.
I can imagine after with the novels.
He was having revelations. He was having admonishing moments. He was having times, but at the same time, he was, creating worlds in which perception, memory, understanding of the self, and everything is so twisted that you really begin to say, okay, I'm a fantasy, but now how can I deal with myself?
Right. Yeah, and that's That's a problem inside of another problem inside of another problem, and
that is not a problem but results to be a problem. Meaning you have to talk to you in a third person, but it's the Nawal, but the Nawal is you, but it's not you.
oh,
It's the consciousness that goes through you, and through that, and that consciousness that goes through you gives you an identity, but that identity is not yours in reality. So suddenly you begin to as I said, when you see everything in the people, you begin to develop tolerance, because everybody is just a conduct for the energies or for the Nawals, and everybody has capabilities. Those capabilities were created or is the result of the moments of pregnancy. Well, that is more than acceptable, because every example that we play, it always fits. See, in the Mayan calendar, everything is really encoded in that way. So then you begin to follow the nature and the world and everybody as, yeah, there's an hour through that. There's a consciousness, there's a phantom consciousness over there that believes is an ego, but at the same time it's a human being with errors and everything, and also the pushings of the mind and the biological needs. That is not in ours. The biological is another stuff. But anyways, you can see the different aspects of a person. And that's why I have been insisting, we have to see the Mayan calendar as a science, because the explanation of the human being is according to pregnancy moments, and everything that you can analyze in an adult is going to be encoded there in the pregnancy, and it is more than acceptable to understand the consciousness of the baby and the influence of the mother, obviously. Then you can resolve everything.
That's the best part, is that it's very obvious if you just step back and think about it. And I've been thinking about that. I always thought it was a science, and I called it a biorhythm.
Oh yeah.
That I've been using that word for 10 years. And so I maybe I lost respect for them, or I disagreed with them, but I've always had that feeling. But recently I've been maybe trying to say it in the words of something about a system. The Mayan calendar works in systems. Like it's mathematics first, it's just counting. But then the way you count and organize things becomes systems. And there's many, many, many systems, and I only know very few of them.
Okay, you're very right. I'm gonna tell you something. And today I was with a woman that from Korea.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, that's peculiar. I'm always open to that, to receive people with difference and boundaries, cultural boundaries or whatever. First of all, I was analyzing when I calculate her birthday, the system, the Greenwich system, and all these frames of time that we apply is the same for understanding the Mayan changes of calendar of day. As I said, and I remember Will Freeman told me, yes, the day begins in the dusk. So well, immediately adjust. She was the Nawal, she was born. Okay. Well, the Nawal in which we are born, the day, the Mayan birthday, is related directly, instantaneously, to the gestation process, to the gestation, the mother and the father, the influence, the presence, the excess or the lacking of stuff. Then the arising of consciousness, that first is a bio-consciousness, and then is a full perception consciousness. Well, the year in which we are born, guess what?
What?
Guess what? Begins with a bio-solar rhythm that affects us. And the Nawal that rules in the year you are born is no other thing but a calculation of biorhythms. Wow! So you have to onboard it, that word that you applied from 10 years, you have to Jesus Christ that word and bring it alive, because it's a real way of comprehension of the Mayan calendar. The year is a biorhythm, and there's a specialized counting of days that can provide you how those biorhythms follow, and it's going to explain the rhythms of health, clarity, openness, closeness, production, laziness, let's say in the common words, good luck, bad or good health. It's a biorhythm that affects us. I was telling the Korean woman today that the peasant, everybody that has to produce something green, knows that in greenhouses, in the nature, in the mountains, in the deserts, whatever you have to produce something green or biological, you have to follow the characteristics of the seed, the plant, the tree, or whatever, right? Because they pertain to a biorhythm, they pertain to a system. They already have a part of a bigger system. We don't apply that knowledge to us human beings because we are born like randomly, right? But anyways, the day in which we born, the earth has a relationship with the sun, and in the moment in which you are born, it begins a biorhythm directed by the sun, and the sun is the life giver. That biorhythms or those changes can be calculated, and will explain everything that affects in the way of a natural system, but in your body.
I would, calculated mathematically by counting.
By counting, yes, and it is a mathematical, scientific stuff.
Yeah,
all the processes of the earth. It's like we are not going to talk about the solar year or something. It's more than obvious. The velocity of light or whatever. That is some common universal rules.
Well, you're bringing in something else, which is a little bit out of the scape of the Tzolkin, but it applies, and that's the holder of the year of the Hab, or I don't quite know how to say it, but in Washki Kiech.
This year?
Yeah. Oh no, Wakiv?
No, man. Where did you read that?
Wakiv, yeah, sorry, my words are bad. Don't.
Maybe in the Arguelles calendar, that is not a calendar. It's a fucked up heap calendar.
Let's just say it in English. 6 deer. How about that?
Yeah.
Okay, can I say it? I try to say it. I make a mistake.
Well, it depends. Let me go to my. Let me see something. Wait for a minute. Yeah, we are already in Wakipkech. Well, number 6 goes to meditation or meditation even. And Kech is the strength. This is a year in which everything is on the balance. Everything has been pondered. But it is so broad. It's so broad for the let's say for the explanation of everything, that I only apply the knowledge in some places in weather, not that affected weather environments, because we have made so much pressure in the earth that usually the man, the carrier, was very helpful to calculate rain and everything. Now it is not. Everything has changed. Rains, weather, and everything, and the producers of rain are affecting more. And I apply the carry of the year for the understanding of the human beings. For nature is now very difficult to apply it because of what I said. Because we affected the earth, and that's more than obvious. And let me tell you that I'm not trying to be the shaman that wants, let's heal the earth.
Yeah, I know.
There's the shamans. It's the common stuff of stupid shamans.
Well, maybe you could make some money, man. You could
use this quartz.
Go to
No,
go
go
to San
and kill the
Francisco
Reaper.
and talk to the conference. We need to heal the Earth, man. People will throw money at you, I bet.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, although
Well, they attend your quartz chakra
that's it. That's it,
aligning
man.
with
Yeah,
high
you could sell
frequencies,
those things. That's huge.
quantum out of date,
Quantum, yes.
quantum out of date dragon,
Yeah,
uh,
that's it.
Mayan calendar stuff. So
Perfect.
no. I'm not talking about that. If I want to heal the earth, I will go to the next river close to my house to help cleaning.
But I'll say this because yeah, I think is a bit of a strong year. In the last, let's say, 6 weeks here in Kyoto, we have had an earthquake, a tornado, a flood which killed many people and was very powerful flood. And then recently we were in a heat wave, which is about 39 degrees every day for the last 2 weeks, and then typhoon is coming, maybe tonight or tomorrow.
Oh my God! Well,
It's very powerful.
Keh is rude. Keh is rude always, and punk has to say. We said in Spanish bronco, rebelde, as the mule, and that is a point. But as I told you, I was tracking weather, and during years I have been tracking entrance of rains, arriving of rains, signs here and there. I used to have my journal, and what was more or less a consistent stuff 20 years ago is now it's like, well, it's not applying that much, sadly. But well, the ma'am still explains several stuff, specifically this one that I'm telling you, how we are being can also affect us, because we have a relationship with that being that is the sun, and that is studied through the year and the meaning of the year. There's a specialized counting of days based on the TZOLKIN that can help you to develop this. And it is just called the big count. There's no ramboyant or it's just the big count. That's the name. Not the long count, the big count. And it's mostly secret already, it's hidden. But it's very useful to calculate times in which you are going to suffer, or you have to another person. That a plant, as always, a tree always rhythms, like to rest, to get water, to grow up more roots, or then to rise, then to go up, then to develop. Always steps. There's always processes. But we humans also have to rest. We also have to go back a little bit. We also have to go direct. We always have to. There are times in which our health is like no longer good, and sometimes it's very good. That is can be explained as a biorhythm and can be scientifically studied. That's my next purpose after the Gestation of the Universe book, to talk about this amazing counting of days. Very controversial, by the way, but
why is it controversial?
Because it's not known. It's not known in a widely scheme. Is couple like 3 or 4 people that knows and how to use it and how to widespread knowledge of.
For example, are you talking about counting in groups of? Is it bigger than that?
No, almost. You almost got it. Yes, that's the point. It's an specialist counting.
Yeah, you had mentioned it long ago. I actually re-listened to the podcast, so if you say something quickly, I might, I'll hear it maybe in a few months or something like that. So, but you didn't say anything in the detail, and if you're not ready to do that or whatever, it's fine. But yeah.
No, well, I think that it has to be a step by step, because this is, I think, not because I pertain to this tradition, but I think it's very important. I found it very valuable. For example, there has not been a real good epistemology of understanding the calendar. Everybody knows it's good. Everybody knows it's astrological based. Everybody knows it's a marvelous mathematical instrumentation. created or discovered, but developed in ancient times. Everybody, we can agree about the magnificent way it can predict the movements of the stellar objects,
Mm-hmm.
to calculate whatever you want, the end of whatever or the beginning or whatever you want.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but nobody has. But when you are confronted with which is the origin of stuff, you can only find academical stuff about
Right.
the possibilities that in which is based or which is the explanation of how through the Mayan calendar. So that's why this is branch of philosophy that explains the roots of the first step. Explain that that what we call or has been stupidly called the astrology of Mayan astrology or the explanation of the being through the Nawals is not even the start. No Greek stories to sexual contact, creation, relationships between the feminine and the masculine, gestation, development, consciousness. That is epistemology of the human being through the Mayan calendar. Then we pertain to the nature. That's the next step. I will have to, I think, to plan or to write about but this system of counting that reveal us as a bio systems related to the sun, and that is another way of understanding cycles in us. Because also the sun is also an irradiation, and the building of the inner organs and the building and your body as such is also a system of communication through radiation or to the emanation or something. It is more than reasonable also that our relationship with the nature or with the surroundings, the atmospheres, the sun, the moon, the stars, is somehow has cycles. We can see it in the plants, we can see it in everything, but not in us. After the gestation of the universe, I think is the next step.
Is the counting of, let's say, nature and biorhythms in a bigger, you called the big count?
The big count.
I love it.
Yeah, we used to call it Nima Cholkir, the big count. And it could be controversial. I have to, in the sense that it's not well known, it's not broad, it's not, it is only so many last remaining individuals that know that. But when applying, it's very incredibly reasonable how this system works and how the knowledge applies like that. You can explain health. You can predict stuff by knowing which Nawal is going to have the reign over certain. You can see it. We follow rhythms. It's like it is not going to be so difficult for me to predict that the tree is going to leave to let fall the leaves in autumn. No, it's not difficult, but same knowledge can be applied to the human being, and you will know when a person has to rest, to begin once again, or to have a biorhythm that is going to prepare the self for bright ideas or for movement or for stuff, right? So, and it is very, very, very amazing knowledge. Very, very amazing. But, well, now I'm going to repeat. I will want to do step by step because I think that this deserves the attention, right?
Sure, yeah, no, I agree, and that's was part of the reason why I asked to slowly go through the Nawals was to step by step slowly get clarity about each piece, and so when we start to analyze bigger systems, and the systems get bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger, and so if we don't understand the simple pieces, then I don't think we could get a good grasp of the systems that the pieces come together to be a part of. So asking about the individual novels just to start.
Yeah. Well,
Tell you
I
what.
think that Gestation of the Universe book could well, it's kind of designed to open questions, because even it's an epistemology of conscious Mayans understand the baby and how the baby receives stimuli and how the baby behave according to that. It's an epistemology of consciousness also. But at the same time, it's epistemology of understanding the human being through the Mayan calendar and through the linguistics of the Mayans. But I'm not talking about all the cases. I'm just giving examples. I cannot write 260 cases. That needs an encyclopedia, but it is very amazing. It's very incredibly amazing how this explains. So maybe I don't know. I have to do something in between, or I don't know.
Well, I of course record the podcast and then I'll listen to it and sort of edit it to make sure it there's it sounds okay, and then I've been transcribe interview, and then afterwards I'll sit down and write down the whole interview. And so slowly, I've been making a bigger and bigger Word document, I guess, basically. And so piece by piece, the information is coming. So perhaps just talking about it, we could slowly talk through each one, and it's a lot of talking, by the way. But step by step, I think we could start to build. It's probably correct because there's too much.
Yeah, it's too much. Well, yeah, knowledge is pretty amazing because, as I told you, just for a total book devoted to dreams, and it has to talk about so many stuff. For example, it's very important, this thing that I talk about, associations, because there are some elements that pertains to our background, evolving from, I don't know, from monkeys or whatever. And there is a very, very reasonable stuff that can appear in our consciousness because there was a moment in which we were not the predators. And for example, dreaming obscurity or dreaming light is not only interpretation, could be also based on biological stuff. Our vulnerability while dreaming, when we were not the mammal king of predators, and sudden noises and stuff that is more than that you can go through just the human comprehensions of evolving or the evolution of consciousness. And I'm not talking about the other consciousness and chakras. I'm talking about consciousness, being aware, being conscious, and but then you enter into the other realm. What is a biorhythm? What is the biorhythm of the stars, the sun, the moon, the stars, really to be a human? And then, although the associations of the Mayan calendar are based on names like thunder, fire, net, or monkey, or whatever, in the conceptualization you can understand clarity, complication. You can go deeper. And then you can make a weaving of understanding in the general sense. And then just imagine that task to understand that we're floating in between a no time frame, that your dreams has a reason and has a development, and the elements, when being clarified, is information, is a dialogue. And is when a people is well trained or follows as I said, the gears of the days, you can get so much good information by being aware of your dreams, yourself, or anyone else, or so much stuff that could be so valuable. So that's just imagine, that's another big project, Mayan calendar also. The gestation times or the biorhythms.
Fun, I think, for me of researching this is that it never ends.
No, it never ends. No. Today I was very happy with this Korean girl because I was very satisfied in which the Mayan calendar was created. Because I was talking about the gestation of her. Now picture myself. She begins to laugh because she says, "Oh yeah, I already know. My mother is like that." So see that stuff, but that is system of conceptualization of stuff. So if it's a person is in a way, well, the mother was in another and the father was in another, that's more than reasonable also.
Yes, in my experience traveling around the world, it works everywhere. I've never seen a place where it didn't work. I find there's a few Nawals that are tricky for me to put my finger on, but other than that, and those are every. Um, Although I have noticed some differences. For example, uh, in the West, you might want to try the Nawal before their Gregorian birthday, because it might be a better fit. So, for example, in Philip K. Dick's case, it's like, well, Ish doesn't really work. Let's try. However, I found that more often it could be the one after. And
sometimes, but also, yes, you're right. But sometimes it's the mistakes of the people. Sometimes it's that the parents or the doctors just apply. Mother didn't want to register the baby that day, and they resisted.
Right? No, it's true. It's true. So sometimes you'll get a birthday and it just doesn't fit well. No, that doesn't fit well. And so
yeah, I've had several of those. This Philip K. Dick mystery, I think, is resolved by that.
I'm happy that
yes, I know. For example, I know an 11-ish man, and he's a very good academic, but he has no creativity.
No.
He's just the best for to do analyzing stuff, but he does not create. He can create. He's not creative.
Yeah,
and Philip K. Dick was twisted.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. Is Philip K. Dick is not only creative; he's very weird.
He's amazingly weird.
He's amazingly weird. Yeah. Beautifully, yeah. So you don't see that.
Even although I like Hollywood movies, some of the like the one in which is based this Total Recall movie is a very interesting story. It's better than the or the Blade Runner, the original those ships, dreams with electric, whatever, I don't know.
Yeah.
It has so much information, very that produce very heavy insights. Sometimes I have to read it, and I found more and more and more. And sometimes I found that my mistake by translation is also helpful and twisted enough.
Perfect. Yeah.
For to try to understand perception.
Sure. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
I love Philip K. Dick.
Well, actually, it's really funny too, because then you said that there was a German man that was eating people, and I'm like, yeah, that sounds like Ishbalam. Okay, yeah. Yeah. Okay, that's it. Perfect. Got it.
Vampire of Dusseldorf.
Right. Yeah.
It was this man that was, and just that if you saw Dusseldorf, you say what? And this city seems to be created by a magical being, but there's a vampire over there.
Oh, that's so funny. Love it. Well, I think today, it's probably a good time to wrap it up.
We advanced one now. Well, not the one that you wanted.
That's fine.
But we got a better understanding of Nawal Akabal.
Sure. Yeah, I learned a lot today. I had a great conversation, and it's always good to leave something for the next time, because that way I don't have to think too hard for the questions. I already have them. Well, yeah, have a very good night and a good week, and I guess. Oh, geez. Okay, I have one more for you, actually, which is the next Tracina. I'm sorry, man. The next Tracina is Hoon Bats.
Oh, it begins with Hoon Bats.
Yeah.
Yeah. But one thing, in the what is that was the Mexica way of counting time. It was told that they analyzed the Tracina according to the number 1.
Right.
But according to that's another book, the Tracina, you cannot imagine how the Tracina you pertain to or you belong to explains the full system of your life. For example, just to give you one parallel,
Jesus.
Number 9 in your Tracina is going to explain your inner private world, while number 8 is going to explain your social world. And I'm not going to tell you the rest, because I'm just, I already
That's enough.
Let
That's enough because
I'm
I.
out open to say stuff. Already I said like six. And
Wow.
what is better to analyze a Tresina is not through number one, but through number 13. The 13 of the Tresina is so important. Another secret for you. That, for example, if you are, let's say, any given Nawal of the Tresina, the number 13 of your Tresina is also like another very important Nawal you have to take into account, because it rules, he or she rules that much that your 13 in your Tresina could be also another personality.
Wow.
For example, let's talk about then Philip Kadik. Now we understand that. By the way, let me tell you something. If he is not 11 Ishbalam, then he is 10 Ah. 10 Ah is also the Nawal of Freud.
Right.
And 10 Ah is also the Nawal of his disciple
Jung.
Jung.
It doesn't fit to me. I don't believe that, but yeah.
Yeah, Freud and Jung both are 10 Ah. Then Philip Kadik could be 10 Ah, and just notice the relationship is more than obvious.
Well, I wanted to say this about Jung because, of course, Freud to me seems so obviously 10 Ach, and Philip K. Dick, it fits very nicely that he's 10 Ach. However, I always had the feeling that maybe, and I don't know, but maybe Jung was Beleheb E. Because he was a traveler, he spent all of his life on the road, and his insights were much more holistic and kind and not
open.
Yeah, not weird at all. He was very wise, and it's very different kind of. Whereas Freud seemed just sort of like a weirdo. I don't see Jung as a weirdo at all. He's a mystic. He's a traveler. He's somebody who took things that are separate and put them together. I really think he seems more like a eh. However, that's just my own idea, and maybe I'm wrong. But I mean, I've been thinking about that one for a long time because I've heard the people say that, and those two are so different, Freud and Jung.
Well, let's take it as an hypothesis. Because also the year has to be analyzed, and the number 13 of the Tresina. So, yeah, next, let's begin how you said. Next week, Humbats. Okay. That, by the way, is my Tresina.
I see.
Yeah, but my suggestion in podcast, but my dictatorship mood to apprenticeships is analyze that in the number 13 is more, provides more insight, because number 13 is almost functions as the second phase. If you are any given Nawal, your Nawal is the first, 13 from the Tresina is the second, and the year is the third. Wow. It's like 3 phases. So that's not the problem for a person that is already born on number 13. But for us that pertain, the Tresina helps as a system of comprehensions of the self also. It's not only the Nawal or the inception and gestation Nawals, it is also the Tresina as the system to which we pertain. The system has an accumulation that is the number 13, and a purpose and a leading point of all the system that I'm not going to reveal in this moment.
Well, let's look at the next Tresina as 13 Akabal. So therefore, there's something to do with dream.
And I already said that it's my Tresina. And then it means that Akabal is also one of my phases. See how happy was I talking about Akabal?
That's well.
I'm an expert in Akabal.
Let's leave it at that. That's a perfect. I mean, I want to talk to you more, but that's a perfect Akabal sort of mystery. Like, wow. Until next time.
Yeah, I'm hiding information. Yes.
Perfect.
Well, anyways, if I begin here, we have to be in a podcast for a couple of years
I think so.
continuously. But
Yeah. That's the point. Too much.
yeah, there's no way. There's no
Too
way to
much.
finish. Anyways, it's the 13th, so I pertain to that Tricina. Akabal is also one of my faces, and that's why I'm so expert about Akabal. Not in that way. I really enjoy orgasms. I don't have that. I don't have that problem. Yes. No, well, the sheets can stain. I can change.
That's good.
There's no problem.
That's good. Well, my 13, I'll think about that one. That's very interesting, and I don't quite know what to make of that, but maybe that'll part of the fun of it is the mystery, wondering.
Yeah, well, that's also a cabal. The mist going with light into the. It's the opposite. Let's see. You have this lamp or this light in your hand, and you enter into the woods. That same thing is a cabal. The light that you carry to go into darkness to find the mystery, the adventure. That is also a cabal.
Mm.
That's why a cabal is also very helpful for pathfinders and for explorers, because you are going to find clarity in the middle of the darkness. Because that's Akabal.
I really like the metaphor, the image of holding a flashlight walking through the forest. That's very powerful, actually, for me.
Yeah, I believe. I was thinking into a cavern, a cave, that you are going to go with your light, and you are going to bring light to the darkness, and you are going to find. That's the same metaphor for dreams. Is the light that you are carrying in the Nawal Akabal. So Akabal is fascinating. Well, every Nawal is fascinating. But well, so my way, Akabal is for analyzing a Tricina, it's better to analyze the number 13 of the Tricina, and then maybe this is another project or another thing or in some other way, or I don't know, but the numbers encode the system of a person to understand. I already give you, and number 8 explains the social life, the social role, and number 9 is exactly the opposite: the private, the inner world, closed doors, the private being. Sometimes when people get married, they are attracted by the number 8 because it's the social way. When they meet each other and they found the number 9, sometimes it's very, as you behave in a way, but in your own world, in your bathroom, you are different.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's very, 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 very intriguing. So analyzing 8 and 9 is the social and the private. And all the numbers has a meaning also to understand the human being. And you understand your system, your purpose, suddenly it gets all the light of what you have been looking for or traveling to or getting prepared to. Suddenly it says, I knew it. Sometimes that is so. If I can make an announcement in the podcast, I open even for Skype. If someone has the necessity to talk to me to talk about this, well, I can do the consultation and talk about the Tricina, the system, the Nawal, and to explain pregnancy moments and whatever. Everything that we have been talked is something that I do. It's something that I do in a daily basis. So if anyone over there listening to the podcast is interested, well, you just have to contact me by Facebook, because it's an easy way to get to me. And everything that we have been doing, I can be doing as a service.
Okay, well, I'll put a kind of link or something in the description just in case anybody needs a link to click, and I probably will how can I say, get a consultation just myself, because I have a whole bunch of. I'm trying to be like, kind of.
You're trying to get the idea, but well. Okay.
I want to be diplomatic. Like, I don't want to use this thing to air out my own laundry. I'm trying to put it in a way that it's like useful to other people.
Well, I know the cousin of my cousin has a problem. Can I ask?
Yeah. Not to do that, but it creeps in sometimes. I can't help it. But yeah.
Well, well, you can contact me and we can arrange a meeting by let's say by Skype, and I don't know, a payment by PayPal, for example. That
Perfect.
functions.
Perfect. Yeah, I'd love to do that.
Yes, and I'm more than open to resolve people's doubts. And
Yeah, my cousin's cousin does got all kinds of shit going on. So okay.
Yeah,
I'll-
we all know that cousin is so fucked up.
Yeah, man, that's some fucked up shit. Apabyan, thank you very much. It's been wonderful to talk to you as always, and I look forward to talking to you again sometime in the future.
Okay, see you later, and see you later. Thank you all. And thank you all of you that attend this podcast. I'm very happy to talk to all of you. And thank you, Paul, for making this platform and these audios to be available for whoever that it wants real knowledge and not the stiff face of an spiritual guy that is talking just nonsense.
My pleasure. Take care, man. Sayonara.
Sayonara, ciao.